Flights are pricey, planning feels chaotic, and that family trip keeps getting pushed. I hear it every day from business owners and busy professionals, and I felt it too. I'm Ross, the founder of Itinerary Boss and your host. After 10 plus years of planning work and personal trips to over 20 countries, I became the guy who found the deals and turned points into upgrades. This show helps you turn everyday business and personal spend into points and miles for premium travel. Each week, you'll get step by step tactics and short episodes, plus expert guests with specific use cases tied to your most asked questions for travel plans that'll help support your business, goals, and your life. Go ahead and grab the free Points and Miles cheat sheet in the show notes to speed up your learning. And now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy. I'm your host, Ross Alcorn. On this week's episode, we have JT Genter. He is from AwardWallet. He is the editor in chief for AwardWallet, and he's been writing and doing points and miles for 10 plus years. So I'm super excited to have him. He's also rounding out the year as we're recording this, doing his 40 for 40, which I'll let him explain. So it's not an ESPN 30 for 30, but it's something that's super exciting. So hey, JT, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm excited to have you on. I know we've been trying to get this scheduled for a while. You've been hard to lock down
Yeah.
since you've been you've been on the road for a while, but it's wrapping up.
Yeah, globetrotting. Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned the 30 for 30 because that was kind of the inspiration for the 40 for 40. My wife and I both were turning 40 years old this year, this calendar year. So we were already doing a lot of travel, but we were like, what if we just set a goal to visit 40 countries this calendar year? We've now been up to 86, I think, countries total. But yeah, so this year we set a goal to visit 40 and we pulled it off mid-November, actually, even before Thanksgiving. So now it's kind of a victory lap that we're taking around Europe.
There you go. And you're in Amsterdam right now, so that's a good place to be. And
Yeah.
then coming home and hopefully getting some rest and just chilling for the holidays, not moving.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hectic between visiting all of our families. So it's going to be, we have an RV that we have stored in the US. Hopefully, it will start up when we crank it and after 6 months of it storing. So we're pulling out of storage, going and then doing a road trip to visit a bunch of families. So I don't think it's going to be as restful as I would like.
Well, nice, man. Well, cool. I'm really excited to have you here. You bring a ton of knowledge. Every time I talk to people in this space, they go, JT's has so much knowledge. He's a good person to bring on, and you're about to
Oh,
bring
thanks.
a lot of that to our listeners. So really excited to just dive into one award wallet, because a lot of people, a lot of the times when they first get in, or even when they start to get into credit cards, points, miles, loyalty, they're overwhelmed,
Mhm.
right? They don't know how
Yeah.
to track it. They ask what tools. They do it on spreadsheets, and sometimes people just get analysis paralysis and just don't get started. So
Yeah.
love just to hear from you, right? What is Award Wallet and right, what problems does it help solve?
Yeah, so AwardWallet was founded over 20 years ago at this point by a couple co-founders that were just trying to solve a simple issue of, yeah, as you said, people have spreadsheets. I had a spreadsheet with numbers, like loyalty numbers and passwords, like in a Google sheet, and like super insecure. And so it was literally AwardWallet was built to solve that problem, to give people a place that they could have that all in one safe spot and also to help you track your balances, your expiration, how you're working towards elite status, all in one dashboard. The genesis of Award Wallet was to like have this one spot for all of your balances, all of your expiration dates, all in one spot. And then ever since then, over 20 years, we've added so many features. And I say we, the royal we, I can't take much credit for most of it since I solely focus on the Award Wallet blog. But yeah, there's so many features that have been added over the years to really help points and miles travelers.
That's awesome. I'm curious because, right, everyone all like you started doing this over 10 years ago. You loved it so much you started writing now, right? You
Yeah.
do conferences, you're kind of all in on it. Like, how did you even get started? And you mentioned too, like you had spreadsheets, you had all of that. Like, also, how did you kind of overcome what a lot of people at the beginning are like, this is this even real? Is this legit? Like those type of things.
Oh yeah, there's still even as mainstream as I feel like points and miles are right now. I feel like there's still the people are like it's some sort of scam, right? Like they don't believe it's actually still possible to do this. So I came at it. My former career was I was a tax accountant, so I was living in spreadsheets day in and day out, analysis and all that. Crunching numbers was my bread and butter. So that for me, it felt like a very natural fit to like apply that to this new cool feature that would let me do the thing that I wanted to do the most in the world, which was travel and visit new cultures, see new places, and the ability to do that through like credit card spend and yeah, signing up for cards and getting free trips was just incredible to me. And so yeah, I dove in head first. My first real rewards card, I had a few cards before that weren't really, I wasn't maximizing it, but my first one I signed up purely for a trip that I was trying to take to China. So it was in 2014. I was headed to China with my wife for a robot soccer competition that we help run now, but it was being held in China in 2015, and like the flight prices were going to be like $2,000 round trip. And I was like, okay, yeah, there's got to be a better way. Started reading some blogs, found this site called The Points Guy way back when, and found out about this incredible offer at the time where you can get 70,000 points all in one credit card. Right now, that sounds like a tiny little bonus. Like people aren't getting out of bed for less than six digits nowadays, but it was 70,000 is this record-setting thing, and I looked it up, and I could fly to China and back for almost free, like $100 in taxes and fees for 70,000 miles if I transferred to United. And so I was all in on that. Being a super av geek, I like flew over there on the Air China 747. I flew back through Europe, back to the US from China, taking a Lufthansa A380 and an Air Canada Dreamliner. And I just absolutely fell in love with the points and miles game. My wife, I dove in head first, signed up for literally dozens of cards. We've generated quite a few points and miles over the years through card signups. But that's the genesis of what got me into it. And while I was still working in tax accounting, I started writing for the Points Guy and some articles. Actually, that first set of flights I took, I reviewed all the flights for the Points Guy. And yeah, I started writing some guides and started getting more and more assignments, and to the point where I was pretty much working two full-time jobs. During the day, I was working in accounting, and nights and weekends, I was writing about points and miles for the Points Guy. And then after about a year of that, I was getting pretty exhausted. So I took a sabbatical from my accounting job during a slow period, and I've never been back. Points Guy brought me on and full time, and I worked there for several years. And then when the pandemic happened and there were some changes being made, I was able to jump over to AwardWallet and really scale up a product that I was already a user of, a power user of, and really respected. Had a blog, but was publishing about three posts per week at that point, and I saw so much potential to really scale that up, really tie it into the AwardWallet product, and that's what I've been striving to do these past almost 6 years now.
That's awesome, man. It's always cool here to hear people's origin stories and to like you mentioned you had a couple cards prior. So I think a lot of people when they first get into
Mhm.
this, they're like, "Oh, how did you know to get this card?" I'm like, "I had a Discover It card in college. I then got a
Yep.
card that, right? Everyone starts somewhere, and that's where it's just like you can't just think, all right, I'm going to go get all of the top cards with the welcome bonuses and transferred, and then it takes a lot of work, mistakes, right? Learning and diving in head first, and obviously you being, you were in spreadsheets and like that was your bread and butter. Like it made it a little bit easier to crunch the numbers, but it's usually just like get started and over time
Yeah.
you'll start to make those right redemptions, right? And everything.
Mhm.
And also I feel like nowadays, I mean, you've been doing it for, a while. Do you feel like nowadays there's tools, obviously Award Wallet, but are there tools just in the space that just make it a little bit more easier for people who are just getting started out?
Hey, I wanted to take a quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the show.
Oh, absolutely. We're spoiled for the number of tools that have rolled out over the past few years. It really started with I think one of the game changers was Point Me, this website where you could pay a subscription, and rather than search a dozen different airline websites to try to find if there's availability, you could go to this one site and punch in your search parameters and get it. And then that opened the floodgates. I mean, I feel like there's constantly new tools being added, and they're trying to outcompete each other with
Yeah,
new features and all that. And it's like it's such a golden time to be into points and miles because it's in some ways a lot easier. The downside of that is because it's so easy, award space can be very hard to find because it's so easy to find it now.
yeah,
And so people scoop it up, and there's just it. But like with the right tools, I feel like it's a great time to be in points miles.
for sure. Yeah, and I think if you have flexibility, I think that's the challenge is people, I hear people say, well, they don't work or this, and I want to go on this date and I only can go on these dates. And you do have to have that flexibility or you have to be planning a year in advance. Like,
Yeah.
when Taylor Swift tickets or, a big concert goes right, you have the shot clock ready and like you have to be ready just to pull the trigger. So that's sometimes the strategy that you got to put in place. But I'm curious, AwardWallet, right? Like
Mhm.
from your perspective, like one, why did you decide, hey, you know what, I want to go join? Like they're doing something that's great. And two, like with your background, you mentioned you had all those different spreadsheets, Google Docs. Like, how do you feel like it's helped you really stay organized? And then how have you seen it help other people who are just getting in new doing it?
Yeah, so I mean, so there's a lot there. So AwardWallet, the reason why I wanted to join the team is I just saw so much potential, especially coming from the Points Guy, which was a great publication, and was trying to roll out an app for several years while I was there. But here, AwardWallet had a functioning app and it had a website that where we could really tie stuff in. And one of the bread and butter parts of AwardWallet is helping people track their expiration posts or expiration dates. And so I saw this natural tie-in of like the blog can write, and we now have I think it's over 80 different guides just to the expiration policy of different airlines and hotels, and we literally tied that in. We write a post. And then, so if someone gets an alert that their Hyatt points are expiring, we send them, hey, here's an article that tells you the policy, how to like generate qualifying activity, what does and what doesn't count. And that it was such a natural tie-in to be rather than having someone like have to discover that their high points are expiring and then Google to try to figure out what to do. I could, a word wallet provides it all in one place. Like send you an email, hey, your high points are going to expire in three months. Here's how to take action to save them. And that tie-in between having people's using people's user data to help them get the most out of their points of miles and save them from expiring as well.
Yeah, no, and it makes it simple for people who are more into the hobby. Say you aren't, because I was a business traveler for almost 10 years, and a lot of the times when I first started, it was Marriott, and then I had some Hilton, like when there weren't Marriotts there. But at first I didn't really use Hyatt because everyone in the business traveler game was, oh, only Marriotts, and I really wish that I did. I found out about it a couple
Yeah.
years later, but I think for people who are optimizing and they're staying, and they have different cards, they're staying at all of the hotel brands, they're flying, right? They're flying
Mhm.
on all the different airlines and they're racking those up. It's like trying to keep up with all that. I feel like that's where people get overwhelmed, and having something that gives you an expiration date or you can go back and look at some of the policies versus having to, go open 15 tabs and try to figure it out on your own. Like that's super valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And in defense of what you were doing, I mean, Hyatt has a much smaller presence still, but they've grown by leaps and bounds over the past few years. Back when you were traveling, I can't really blame you for not being a Hyatt stand because they're not everywhere, and where Marriott is everywhere for all of their faults. I mean, Marriott is there's so many of them around. So yeah, definitely understand why you were loyal to Marriott back then.
I think I stayed, I think in 2016 or 2017, I stayed at a Hyatt place in like downtown Baltimore and I didn't have the best experience. And I was like,
Yep.
yeah, but also it was in downtown Baltimore. So it might have just been,
Yeah.
it might have been the
Yeah.
location.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. That's still a thing where people who travel less frequently have one bad experience with a brand, and it can color the entire brand, poorly. Yeah.
What do you think? Just, I mean, you've been doing this for a while. I love that you mentioned, right? Hyatt has grown over the years, but are there specific mistakes you feel like people sometimes make, whether when it's like managing, or there's and like things to look out for that Award Wallet helps with?
I don't know if AwardWallet necessarily helps so much with this. What immediately came to mind when you said that, the people I meet who will put all of they'll maybe have substantial business spending, and they'll put all of that on like a 1x earning card. They're really excited that they have the business platinum, and they'll put all their spend on it. They're not even like spending more than 5,000 to get the multiplier, or they're not, getting bonus categories. And then they like turn around, and they're like, oh yeah, I've got 800,000 or 5 billion Amex points, and then they redeem it for gift cards. And it's like I mean, I don't want, I try not to be judgy, and because everyone's at different levels, but like there's so many better strategies to do than that. Like at least go get a 2% cashback card. You can buy all the gift cards you want with the cashback. You're going to get so much better return. That's the thing that absolutely kills me. And Award Wallet does have tools that can help you maximize your credit card spending. If you link your different banks to Award Wallet, there's a credit card spend analysis. They'll say like, hey, based off the cards you have, you use this card, you got 1x. You could have used this card and got 3x. So we do have tools that can help people figure out how to maximize kind of that backward looking. We also, because we have all of this transaction data, we can also tell people proactively. We have this merchant lookup tool, so you can go in there and type in, um, Airbnb, and it's like, oh yeah, this is coded as travel with Chase. It's coded as travel with Amex. It's not, shows up as like other accommodations or whatever. So it's not a hotel, and so it'll show you based off of all the data points that we've anonymously collected, how you can expect to earn points and miles on those on transactions. So super useful tools that we have. Just all of those are free and freely available, just to help the community.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like you have been reading my LinkedIn post because a lot of the times
Yeah,
that's exactly what I say, exactly what you just said. You bring out the shiny card and then you redeem it for statement credits or gift cards
yeah,
or whatever it is, and it's just the education piece. I mean, it's the friend
Mhm.
recommended it. Oh, you got to get this because it has status, and then you have the lounge, and then you redeem it, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, yeah. I just went on a podcast and asked the host, who is one of the top people in the short-term rental space, and she's like, "Oh, this is what I do,"
Mhm.
and then I do it for Delta. I'm like, "Oh, you could be doing this, and also you could be doing it in Virgin and saving like a fifth or more." So it's
Yeah,
just,
well, and those are definitely like the higher level things, and I man, when I started, I could be very preachy about like everyone should get so many cards and
yeah.
like try to maximize and all that. People are busy.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, you have to figure out what works for you. And so, if you, dear listener, are one of those people who puts everything on their Amex Platinum, it's fine to have the Amex Platinum for lounge access, for all the benefits, for like the pure prestige of it. But get like a city double cash or something like that to get the 2%, and put all your spend on that, or Venture X, or Venture card, like something that's a practical everyday card. It's not I'm not saying people shouldn't have like the business platinum or the MX platinum. It's like just make sure to like put level up, get that next step to like maximize your spend a little bit more.
yeah, and I think that's a great point because a lot of the times people ask, "Hey, what's the best card?" And it's like, well, it depends on your situation, but do you want
Yep.
simplicity and you just want one card? Venture X is
Mhm.
great. 2x uncapped. It
Yep.
transfers. Like you keep it simple. It's not a lot of, like you said, people are busy. It's not a lot of jumping through hoops, but it's just
Yeah.
understanding a lot of those things. I did have a question about, because you
Yeah.
mentioned something that's really interesting. I was having a conversation with a client earlier, and he was trying, and this is where Award Wallet's great. And I said, you need to get Award Wallet, because he had opened probably like 6 or 7 business cards, and he's like, do I even need this now? And it just walking through the use cases and understanding, it's like, no, you could probably drop 2 or 3 of those, but from a
Yeah.
coding standpoint, so let's just say someone is spending on software, right? A gold is great
Hmm.
up to that on a business side, up to that 150K, but are you able to then show, like, say it's like a newer tool that isn't, we'll just say HubSpot, for example. Are you able to
Yeah.
see what would that show? Will it that MCC
Mm.
code, or do they have to manually go in and like look at the vendor and then reach out to the vendor? Like, how does that, have you guys tackled that challenge in the past?
Yeah. So all the data we have is all anonymized user data. So like if someone's spent at that merchant, then we have the data points to say like, hey, this is how it coded for anonymous user. Like again, all of it's anonymized. It's trying to like kind of crowdsource automatically kind of thing. So like if someone spent at that merchant before, it's going to be in those merchant lookup tools. If someone hasn't, if it's a new merchant, then yeah, it might not be in there. Or someone may have used the Chase card at that merchant, and so we know how it codes on Chase, but not on Amex. And so yeah, it's a useful tool to look at if you, especially for like large retailers. But yeah, if you have a niche retailer, we can't know. You might have to just, as you said, reach out to the merchant to see how it codes.
Okay. No, I mean, I see that as a huge opportunity because I think a lot of people, when they're trying, people that some people are, again, they keep it simple, but if they're like, I want to optimize as much and have this card for 3x, this for 4x, this for 5 for these specific things. And sometimes I've heard, right, of shipping, inventory, those type of things that aren't coding, even sometimes payroll. It's like having those, that's really cool to know that there are some of those anonymized data points that they can go back into and tap into.
Yeah, those are really frustrating, especially for the people who you're working with who are making probably very large purchases.
Yeah.
Uh, I was a bit annoyed. I was at a Christmas market in Cologne and was using my city prestige like a fool at all these places, thinking it was going to code as 5x like restaurants, and all of them coded at 1x as was it catering or something like that. And I was like, dang it! But these are like €5 purchases, not
Yeah.
the levels that you're talking about with your clients.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I think for the audience, again, it's like people like JT, people like myself, we make mistakes all the time. And sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes you're super busy and you're like, hey, I just got to do this. And sometimes but it's, yeah, I think that's a good point to make, just because I think a lot of times people think we just get everything right. And sometimes we make
Nope.
mistakes.
No, no, we're human too, it turns out.
Yeah.
As much as I would like to never make a mistake, yeah. And you were talking about flexibility earlier. We're in Amsterdam. We got this award booked out of Frankfurt. We were dragging our feet on actually booking the train down there. We booked it last night, and then the award alert came through this morning of a better deal out of Amsterdam. We're like, well, we could either throw away the train ticket or we just paid €220 for or whatever, or it's got to work out. But like, yeah, flexibility, mistakes happen. Like, don't beat yourself too much over it.
Yeah, it comes down
All
to
about leveling up.
yeah, exactly. It all comes down to what's your personal preference. Like if you only can go certain places on certain dates or you want to go somewhere and that's on your dream list,
Mhm.
like, don't it doesn't matter if you didn't get the best possible optimization. I think that's key for a lot of
Exactly.
people. Because you're just going to beat yourself up and go down the rabbit hole and not actually
Yeah.
enjoy the trip that you're working so hard for.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Are there have you noticed, like, just for people, because a lot of listeners they're at that beginner, intermediate stage, they're trying to level up. Have you noticed
Mhm.
like any patterns, strategies from tops points
Mhm.
users, stuff that you've done that lead to better redemptions?
A little bit of what we were talking about earlier about you were talking about how you're, all in on Marriott for when you're doing business travel. Like having some flexibility, I think is a key thing that really helps people get maximum value. If you have several different types of airline miles or credit card points or hotel points, you're going to do a lot better off than if you only have Marriott points or you only have Hilton points. And yeah, if you're going to some destination where Hilton is giving you terrible value, you're stuck doing that if that's the only points currency you have. So flexibility is key. Obviously, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. Um, I try to advise people to maybe if you have a primary hotel program, have some sort of secondary, and it's pretty easy to do that. So if you are a Marriott person, there's still plenty of value in the Marriott program. I'm a Marriott Titanium Elite, going to requalify again for Titanium Elite before the end of the year, as well. My wife are both Titanium Elite, so we definitely still use that program. But we also, have an IHG card. I'm also IHG Diamond from the number of stays that we do. But we live on the road. But for someone who is a Marriott person, you can get an IHG card. It gives you mid-tier status. It gets you, decent benefits. It gets you a free night every year that easily pays for the annual fee. So you don't have, it's not that much of a commitment to like have this secondary option. And then you have another option if you go to a place where either Marriott is not available, which isn't many places, or if they're providing terrible value, you have another option of a way to like get more value of your points.
100%. Yeah, no, diversification is key. I think I learned that earlier with Marriott and Hilton, but then also just having, like you mentioned, transferable rewards through the different
Hmm.
cards. And now, and two, if you're listening, right? If you, because I don't travel as much only for personal, really, not for business anymore. And my wife travels a good amount. So it's like if you have
Hmm.
people, you can stack strategies. She mainly focuses on Marriott, sometimes Hilton, a little bit of Hyatt. I focus more on Hyatt and IHG. So, right, we have that flexible and also having, different cards for those different programs. Like that's the best way. And two, uh, if you are a business traveler, I think this is something that she now everything that I made her get Rove because now all her business, right? I just book through that, get the loyalty points, get
Incredible.
Rove miles, and it's like
Hmm.
you're. And if you're traveling for work and you get if and your company doesn't give you a card, that's where it gets really fun. But
Yeah.
but I had
Yeah.
that for about 18 months and it was, yeah, I was racking up.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't, now I have the personal and the business. So it makes it, it evens out. But if you
Yeah.
are traveling, like that's another way too. Like think of those types of strategies. Cause yeah, and I love the ISG card. We just used it for a Grand Cayman trip with the free nights and like,
Nice.
yeah, we're going to use it for next year and we get another free night. Probably maybe go there, maybe use it in the future. So it's like, yeah, but those are the things that um, you can do. And I just was talking to Hunter Thread from uh, from FTU, and we were
Yeah.
talking about positioning flights. And it's like sometimes those free nights can be if you just want to use it as your
Perfect.
positioning flight for a longer haul, like that's where your free night goes to.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, depending on how, if you want to burn a full free night certificate, yeah, but
Yeah.
like those one nights you can either you stack them up or use them like that. Yeah, for me, those positioning flights, if I'm staying at a hotel, it's usually going to be a Holiday Express for like 12,000 points. I'm not going to burn like a 40K
Mhm.
cert that I much rather. Here in Amsterdam, the top of mine is Kipton de Wit. It's right in Central. It's great Kipton. And we almost stayed there tonight because it's 33,000 points for tonight. Instead, we came out to this Holiday Inn that's a little further away because it's 12,000 points.
Yeah.
But like those free night certs can be super valuable. One thing I didn't want to jump in, but one thing I think that you said that is a huge strategy that I feel like some people make a mistake on is having that diversification across a couple. I feel like there's some people who will put all the loyalty on one person, and so they are, elites with maybe a couple different airlines or hotels, and then their spouse has nothing. Their spouse goes to travel on their own, and now they've got literally no status. Definitely diversification across a couple, I think is really important. Unfortunately, I've heard stories of people who have someone pass away, and that person, their spouse was the one that had all the status, had all the points, had all of that, and now the spouse is like used to traveling and getting upgrades and all that, and is trying to figure out what to do themselves.
Yeah, no, I haven't even heard of that. So that stinks.
Yeah,
That's an unfortunate situation.
yeah.
I had Spencer Johnson, he does a lot on YouTube, but he was talking about his credit card mapping, and I think that's very key. And that's where Award Wallet has an awesome tool. You know, if you are getting deeper in and you are opening multiple cards, it's like since we're talking about two-player mode, it's thinking through at the beginning of the year, like, okay, what big expenses do I have coming up? Are there different cards, right? Currencies, like who's traveling, like there's all the
Mhm.
little nuances. And if you map it out, a lot of the times that's where then you can have a good strategy where you can have, like you mentioned, you guys have, if you have two cards on one side, two on the other, if you're flying a lot for work, and if you're a free agent too, and you aren't at an actual hub, like Charlotte's for us is American, but when I was living
Yeah.
in DC, you had Dulles, DCA, and BWI, so you could really get United, American, or Southwest for the main domestic one. So it's like that's where you can start to rack up some of those points too.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
All right, so I know for the future, there's some cool stuff you guys got coming out of Award Wallet. You mind sharing what people can get excited for?
Yeah, we've got a lot coming down the pike. There's one tool that we've sort of soft launched that we haven't really advertised. So the only people that know that that this is happening are the ones that are getting emails about it. But we have soft launched a award repricing tool. So this is set for Award Wallet Plus members, our premium members. Although we can't help ourselves from letting the free members know when there's a way that they can save. But what this is doing is looking at flights that you booked and that you're tracking through Award Wallet. So say you booked a United flight, Polaris to Europe, and you paid 137,000 for business class one way. We will actually check United's website to see if there's a lower price on that, either the same flight or a nearby flight, and email you if there's a better option. And we've seen some absolutely incredible savings. I mean, ones where like someone has booked like a two-stop, business class fare for like 200,000 miles, and then we find like a one stop that saves them 8 hours and saves them like 80,000 miles. And so it's a tool that we soft launched. Because it's literally something that I want.
Yeah.
I travel so much that I'll do bookings, and my wife and I have a reminder every couple of weeks to go through and just reprice everything to try to look for lower prices. And we oftentimes will find lower prices, but that's only if it happens to be lower at the time I check. And so I said, well, it'd be great if we have this automated tool that just looks for people and lets them know if there's a better option. So we don't even have like a proper like name for it yet. I'm just calling it the Word Reprice tool. But like, yeah, it's already soft launching, so people are already getting emails about some incredible savings that they can get. So that's one of the many tools that we're working on. We're working on a site redesign on the blog. If you're not already a reader, please do join us on the WordWall blog. We're putting out 50 posts per week on average right now. Everything from news, breaking news to guides on how to make the most out of your points and miles to those expiration policy posts that I talked about earlier. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff at AwardWallet right now.
That's awesome. I need to get that because I'm already thinking as you were talking, I'm like, okay, we're going to South Africa and we got
Mhm.
they didn't have Air Canada space. They didn't we did United. We were able to find Saver Award for 88K, but we have a layover.
Yeah.
So my hope is as it gets closer, if the direct from Dulles to Cape Town drops for United
Mhm.
Polaris.
Yeah.
That because that would save a
Yeah.
significant amount of time. And if it
Yeah. Yeah.
drops,
literally all you have to do is just track it through a word wallet. So we haven't really talked about the travel timeline. I mean, the main thing that's a word wallet started as was a way of tracking all your balances, all your loyalty programs, all in one spot. But one of the things that I find the most use out of literally daily as a nomadic traveler is the award wallet travel timeline. So that if you connect the email account, it's the easiest way. As confirmations come in, they're brought into your travel timeline. Or if you want to have more control over what you share, you just automatically or manually forward these emails, or you can set up an auto forward that would automate the process. But somehow, if as long as AwardWallet gets the email confirmation email, we'll read it. We throw it on your travel timeline. I'm old enough that I remember when I would travel with my parents, we would have a paper itinerary of, we have this flight, and here's the confirmation code, and it's, this is when it departs, and here's the flight numbers and all that. But it's literally an electronic version of that. It just shows you all of your travel that you booked. And it's great also if you booked a backup flight, it'll remind you, hey, it's time to check in for this flight. You're like, oh, I forgot to cancel that. Let me go ahead and jump in there and cancel that flight. But it's a great travel timeline. If you have the Award Wallet app, again, almost all these features are completely free. You don't even need to have the paid version, but it'll tell you, hey, it's 24 hours to check in. Hey, your flight departs in 4 hours. You probably want to start head to the airport. Hey, it's 1 hour to departure. You probably want to head to the gate. We have a lounge tool in there where you can see literally all of the lounges that are in your departure airport and your destination airports with how to access those lounges is pretty much a travel concierge in your pocket.
I love it.
And it's I feel like one of those things that's just really underappreciated about what Award Wallet does.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't know it did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
which is
know.
great. And the fact that you guys are coming out with that, I mean, like you said, it makes life simple, especially for people who, like for me, it's not super overwhelming because we're obviously in the space and we're able to figure that a lot of that out. But just having like a
Yeah.
one-stop shop to do a lot of that for most
Yeah.
people, it's game changer.
It is, and even if you're advanced,
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like there's a lot of features. Ryan Smith was a former colleague of mine at AwardWallet. He now works over at Upgraded Points. He was on a quest to visit literally every country in the world. So he was going to some pretty remote places, and he was using the AwardWallet app throughout the whole thing. He tells a story about how he was flying intra-Africa, and he was at a gate with everyone else for a flight at the gate that was broadcast as the departure gate, and he got an alert through the Award Wallet app, hey, your gate changed to somewhere else, and there was no announcements.
My
Everyone
gosh.
is still standing around at the original gate, and he had to be like, hey guys, we have to go to this other gate because they moved it to this other gate. And he said literally probably people will miss their flight because there's just literally no announcement. And the only way he found out was through the Award Wallet app. That's obviously a bit of extreme, but like I mean, from delays, I get delay alerts through the Award Wallet app about my flight before I get it from the airline, oftentimes. So it's just an incredible tool all in one place. Again, sometimes I feel like Alexi, who's the 100% owner of AwardWallet, I feel like he gives away too much because he just wants to have these cool features and help travelers out like that.
No, that's amazing. And again, you're an expert in this. You do it right for a living. So for people who are just getting started out, as you can tell, JT's very passionate about it. These are tools that help with specific use cases, no matter where you're at in your travel journey. So JT, I really appreciate you coming on. It sounds like the best next step for people would just be download the app. They can get it from the App Store. If they want the Plus that you guys are rolling out, that's soft launched, that they can check that out here soon. And then check out the blog. You guys are putting out a lot of awesome resources that can help people. Is there anything else that listeners to go check out?
No, so as a Award Wallet user, you can opt into like the weekly digest of all the posts that we publish on the blog. I put that together manually every Sunday night or Monday morning, depending on what time zone I'm in. And it blows me away just every week how much we're putting out on the blog. That's a great way of seeing what's going on. I break it down by like the most important points miles news is at the very top. Break it down into like news, promotions, card offers. It's a really easy way of like keeping up on points and miles if you aren't consuming it daily like some people are.
Yeah, no, great. We'll make sure to link all that in the show notes and really appreciate you coming on, JT. This has been great. If you're a first time listener, make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any weekly episodes we put out Wednesday with expert guests like JT. Also, make sure you give him a 5-star review. I think he deserves one. So hit that 5-star. That helps us keep bringing on great guests like him. And if you think a family or friend would find this valuable, make sure you send this off to them and help them travel. So I really appreciate you coming on again. And listeners, we will see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me.